I want to know what is next. You have no license right now. You're
opening up the
sleeping in your place.
We keep opening up the doors, and we're going to keep fighting. They threatened, and actually the judge has actually mandated that they actually build a barricade to our gym again, and is allowed to use metal this time. So we'll get a plasma cutter, but they're going to have to take us out of here at the same time.
Hey everybody, I am fired up. Happy hump day. Today on The Den, I have special guests that are making the news all over the country, leading the charge. They believe in what they're doing 150%. Atilis, is it how you pronounce it? Atilis Gym?
Yes, sir.
Smith and Frank Trumbetti. I know I butchered your name, Frank. How do I say your last name, my friend?
He's Italian, like spaghetti, Trumbetti.
Trumbetti, okay. So last night, the council voted in New Jersey, revoked your license, right? Tell us first, what is Atilis Gym?
Frank and I bought Atilis Gym 14 months ago, and it wasn't much going on here. It was kind of just dead, kind of on its way out. And we've poured our heart and our soul into this place over the past year. And when COVID hit, it was about 8 months in, but we had built a phenomenal community gym. We're a little rough around the edges. Our music's loud. You know, there's always a lot of energy in the gym, and we're one big family. We have community members here, police, firefighters, nurses, military, active, and veteran. We've got young to old here, and the one thing that's a common thread about the gym is that everybody comes in here to work hard, no matter what they're doing, whether they're one of the powerlifters, bodybuilders, just somebody looking to stay in shape. We got a lot of youth or young athletes. We got the teachers from across the street who come in and, work out with us. So it's a community place. And it's a family. We know every single person by name, and they know us. And it's a place where place where people come to be healthy, physically and mentally. And it was the culmination of a lifelong dream for both myself and Frank. Frank's been in business for 24 years as the owner of Rock Bottom, and he's always been in the industry and always wanted to have a place of his own. And I've been a trainer for about 12 years now, and the same thing with me. So when the opportunity presented itself, we went off to the races with it, and we've been very successful so far. And then COVID hit.
So let's talk about that. I know the gym business well. I understand it very well. I understand your gym. I've never been there, but I get the kind of the dynamics of how much revenue you could be making monthly, what you could be doing for the most part. I know you want to save your business, but is this worth it? Is this fight? I'm not being rude. The legal fees and the aggravation and everything else that's happening to you right now, because everybody thinks you're having fame and fortune. It's also a nightmare, which we're going to get into also. But is this worth it to you still?
Well, it depends on which side you're looking at it from. We're not looking at it as opening up our gym. We're looking at it as taking a stance and fighting for our constitutional rights and fighting for everybody else's constitutional rights. Because right now they're all coming after us because we chose to open up. Tomorrow they're going to be coming after you and everybody else. Okay, I want my children to be able to have rights later on. If they can shut down us anytime they want without even having to account for it, then where do we go? Okay, it's not about the money, and everybody keeps saying about fame. Okay, I want my life back. I want my gym back. I want my store back. I want to see my family. I live here at the gym. Okay, I'm sacrificing everything for something that I believe in. When I was a young kid, I grew up very poor, and my grandmom and a lot of old ladies were around. And I remember Mrs. Stokes had made a comment to me that if you're trying to solve a problem that you can fix in your lifetime, then you're thinking too small. And when this initial thing started, and then it's COVID, and obviously everybody is scared right away because nobody knows. So we choose, and we'll listen to you. You asked for 2 weeks, but 11 days into it, you're giving people free money for 16 weeks. So to me, at that point, it's not about that. So at that point, I realized that this is about constitutional rights, and they don't care about it. Where did we go wrong? And
I'm going to ask you, not to cut you off, aren't there lawyers that could handle that? Why used to?
I don't know if there are. They don't understand. The ones we have now haven't done anything unless we've asked them to. Plain and simple. You know, so they come in and they say, oh, it's not going to cost you anything. And then they start a GoFundMe page. They get our members to start a GoFundMe page. And then we get crucified by some people for it. And the GoFundMe page is set up to actually pay for those, all the fees and keep our business running. And then we get attacked. And now the state wants to take that money.
So here, let's talk about that. You hired an attorney or two attorneys, I'm assuming, correct? I'm assuming you have
three in one firm and then one from an outside.
You both have been arrested now. I think you were charged with contempt of court. Is that it?
Yes.
We have 24 charges altogether.
24? How do you come up with 24 charges?
24 summons and citations, between citations and arrests. We have 24 altogether, 12 each.
And I'm assuming most of them are disorderly conduct or...
Most of them hold $1,000 fine up to 6 months in jail.
Which I think we'd agree you're not going to go to jail. No logical prosecutor would say you deserve to go to jail for this, right? No?
You would think that, but in Governor Murphy's latest contempt of court movement against us, or motion against us right now, which we're going to court on Friday, he requests three things. And one is a $15,000 a day fine. And that's what we were talking about, where he's attacking our legal fund. Because in asking for that, he doesn't put forth, say, hey, we'll fine them this much money because they make X amount of dollars per day. He says, I want to fine them $15,000 and they can pay for it because that's what's in their legal defense fund. So he's openly admitting that he's trying to interfere with our right to counsel by crippling us financially. Second, he asks that we actually do be arrested and detained. And that would mean holding us. That's not just book and release. That's detainment. That's imprisonment, whether that be a week or otherwise. They're still looking to detain us at the same time they are letting prisoners out of jail in the name of COVID. And then third, he's asking now for a barrier to be constructed once again, something I guess a little more beefy than the plywood one.
All right, so let's talk about this. I mean, do you feel like some of this is just starting to spiral and get out of control? Chris Lambert, as you know, you bought the gym from him. He left a video about 3-4 days ago saying that you pretty much are doing this for the fame, fortune, and the GoFundMe money. I can only speak to one part of those three equations, right? The legal part. I know what lawyers cost. Now, if they're not doing this pro bono and they're using that as a slush fund, I'm going to call it a slush fund, right?
Exactly what it is.
Most lawyers are vampires. I mean, let's just be honest here. They charge you $300 to say hello. That money's going to be gobbled up fast. But it doesn't seem like your representation is doing a great job for you here.
We've had the issue of being on the defensive throughout this entire thing, and part of that I would put that on our lawyers for not being aggressive enough. But part of that is just part of this fight. When it's this big guy versus little guy scenario, they don't want you to get to round 12 because round 12 you win. So what they do is they try to stop you at every turn. I mean, we've had the health department weaponized against us. We've had the police department weaponized against us. We've had the judicial system weaponized against us. And we've had multiple health violations. We got health violations for having tractor tires on the side of our building because they were a health risk. And they've been there for over a year, and there's 100 gyms. There's 1,000 gyms in the country that have the same thing. We were told that when we brought our equipment outside, that it was a zoning violation. Everything's been thrown at us, and that's part of the reason that we've been on the defensive and we haven't gotten very far yet, is because we're constantly boarding off these attacks. Because again, all those attacks come at the expense of the taxpayer. So Murphy doesn't care, so he'll throw anything he wants at us. Any motion, he's got 12 lawyers at his disposal. And it's all taxpayer funded. So
what are your lawyers saying? Are you paying the lawyers, or are they doing it pro bono?
No, we're paying our lawyers. Absolutely.
We are $47,500 so far and haven't seen a judge.
Yeah, we haven't
seen a real judge.
We haven't spoken a word in court, not even introduced ourselves. Judges refused to hear us.
Federal judge kicked it back to the state saying the exact words that we had not done enough to exercise our rights.
Okay, so you spent $50,000 in legal fees. I think you've raised, if I looked correctly, about $180,000 so far in GoFundMe, correct? So yeah. Chris Lambert's saying you're doing it for the money and for your egos, the fame.
I started this fight officially on March 27th when they passed the stimulus package. We worked diligently for 9 straight weeks from the day that they actually started to become CDC compliant. and to be able to practice social distancing, because we built a gym that we put our heart and soul into. And we had talked about how much work we were doing, but it was the easiest thing we ever did, because we built a gym that we would want to train in ourselves, and we treat people the way we would want to be treated. So as this started to develop, and once it got over a month, it was going to go where we were going to be closed down for 2 months. I went to the local police at that time. And when I went to the local police, I said, look, we're going to give them till May 8th, this date. And May 8th, if they do not have a plan, we are actually on May 11th going to put together our plan. And our plan is to go on the social media, so we actually have a little bit of a backing, for us intention of opening up on May 18th. And I truly believe that if we actually didn't get a little bit of backing, that the government would just squash us. And then we would just look like bad businessmen when it was all over, when we weren't able to open back up, when everybody was allowed to open up. So, and I told the police that that's what our plan was. And actually the local police had said that they understood, and that we had done very good things in the community and hadn't bothered anybody, and that they would only bother us if their higher ups said they had to. So we continued on our progress and going towards it. And our hope was to get one media source. So May 8th came, they did not have a plan. On May 11th, Ian did a video on Instagram, and we actually posted as a safe reopening of New Jersey, and this is what Atilis Gym Bellmawr is going to do. And we put our 15-step protocol that we were doing for CDC compliant and social distancing, and make sure everything could be sanitized and cleaned properly. And then the reason for our date of May 18th was specifically because at that point, they'll have asked for 2 weeks, and we will have given them 2 months. And they don't have a plan, we have a plan, and I've said that from day one.
So it wasn't, when we reopened,
but there's no fame.
We wanted 2 things. We wanted to present our plan publicly, because reopening was not just this reckless abandonment of structure. We thought very, very long and hard about these protocol, and to date, we have the best protocol out of any small business that I've come in contact with. We go above and beyond. We do more than what hospitals do here. We're constantly looking at what we can do next. So we put it out there publicly because we wanted the public to talk about it. We wanted the government to talk about it because they weren't. So as responsible citizens, we said, hey, there's no plan. We have to move forward in some way. Here's our idea. Come down to the facility, talk about it. We're announcing that we're going to open. If you don't want us to open, come to the table. Let's chat. That's what government's supposed to do. It's supposed to work with the people. That's the way government is supposed to work. And it was our hope that we would. And as far as the media attention goes, the media attention has been nothing but something to keep us insulated from these oppressive measures that we're seeing now. If we just opened our doors and we got arrested and then fined, then what's it all for? But if you put it in front of the eyes of the public, obviously the public cares. I think that's, you can't dispute that at this point. And obviously there's a lot of people who are upset about the way that this is happening. That's the point of the media. It's not about fame. Anybody who thinks that it's about fame is showing that that's the way that they think.
So let's talk about this, because it's not like you two don't know about COVID-19 and the severity of it. I mean, Frank,
I know that. I understand.
I'm very sorry for the loss of your mother, but I don't think the viewers, the people in the country, like, if anyone should be scared to open back up because of COVID-19 and the pandemic, would be you, because you lost your mother.
I disagree. I say the total opposite. I say because I have 5 children at home, 2 15-year-olds, 18, 19, and 20-year-olds. My wife is a nurse. Okay, my wife goes to work. I allowed my kids to have friends over. I had friends over, had a poker game during this time, and we coexisted with my mother. On April 17th, we're all playing Scrabble and Boggle together, okay? We kept my mother safe, okay, using my protocol and those type of things with safe socialization, not social distancing, okay? So then my mother goes into the hospital, COVID negative, and gets it in the hospital. So do masks really work? Everybody in the hospital wears a mask, okay? The place where actually you're supposed to go to get healed killed my mother. Okay. Bottom line is, I am well aware of the facts and the science and the data. And they don't have any on their side to actually say that we're a bad place. But as far as that goes, healthy people are not dying. Okay. It's protect the old, protect the compromised, protect those that are scared, okay, just because if they decrease their immune system and everything like that, it's going to happen, okay, and then get back on with living. Okay, the 8-week period at the beginning of this pandemic was so catastrophic as far as the actual deaths because they quarantined everybody. When you quarantine people, you actually decrease their immune system. Specifically, when you look at the 2.1 million people that represent 0.6% of the population that were in long-term care facilities at the beginning of this, governors of certain states actually made orders that actually they put COVID positive patients that were otherwise healthy into these long-term care facilities. As of July 17th, the last time I had time to look at the numbers as far as everything goes, that 0.6% of the population was responsible for 53.3% of all the deaths in the United States from COVID.
Well,
Okay?
Frank, let me clarify what I was saying to you. What I was saying to you is, first, sorry for the loss of your mother. Number two, if anyone would want to shut down, it'd be someone that lost their mother. That's what I was.
My point is that's why I want to open up, because I know that healthy people aren't dying.
I get that part, but for our viewers, I want them to see I wasn't taking a shot at you.
I didn't take that as a shot, okay, in any way whatsoever. But my point is that when we go through all this and you think about the numbers and everything, bottom line is that when I look at those numbers, I'm a numbers guy, okay, plain and simple. And I've done so much homework on this that I'm sick of it, to be honest with you. But bottom line is we set out to prove that everybody's essential. Okay, to tell us that we're not essential, but a liquor store is, Home Depot is, and they have no protocol. We have a Dollar General here that has no protocol. It's the dirtiest place in town. And people
can't be worse than Walmart. It cannot be worse than Walmart.
It is. It is. You can't even walk two people side by side, and it's so overcrowded over everything. It's disgusting. But
let's talk about that, Frank Trumbetti, if I don't mind you asking. So I don't want to go off here. I'm not the ideal picture of health. But, I know one thing. Everything I read, so I'm not a doctor. I don't have an MD. I'm not a DO. I'm just a digital marketer. That's all I am. I'm an expert at digital marketing. That's all, I want to give myself that at least, okay? Everything I read says if you work out, if you stay healthy, if you try and eat right, drink a little bit less, you have a very good survival rate against this virus. Is that – so to me, I'm thinking, shouldn't gyms be the first thing to open and liquor stores last, maybe? I don't know. I mean, you guys tell me your thoughts on that. That's just me reading. I have no dog in this fight. What's
crazy is you don't need to be a doctor to figure that out. That before this, that was common sense. Nobody now wants to talk about the idea of everybody talks about public health, but public health begins at the individual level. And government has completely failed us in protecting our individual health. And they keep saying public health, but you said it. Why are liquor stores allowed to open and gyms not? Why is tobacco and lottery ticket sales encouraged, but going to the gym is not? There's overwhelming evidence, first of all, without even taking COVID into the equation, that if you work out regularly, you will feel better and you will be better physically and mentally. People come to the gym for a lot of reasons. That's one of the funniest criticisms we got when we first opened. People said, oh, you guys just want to build your muscles and look good. And it's like, if that's what you think that the gym is about, it's clear that you've never actually been to the gym. Because people come here, we have people who come here, who were addicts at one point and have years and years and years clean. And the gym is part of that process that keeps them clean. We have war vets here who come in every single day, guys who have been through a lot and who have to deal with a lot on a daily basis. We have a guy who walks in here 7 o'clock every morning. He comes and he just crushes himself in here. And every day at 8:30 or 9 o'clock when he leaves, he walks out with a smile on his face, and he can go home and he can be a father to his kids and he can be a husband to his wife. And without that, he can't.
And he's a 2-time Purple Heart recipient who thanks us for saving his life. And we don't deserve that. And that makes me angry. He should never have to thank anybody for what he sacrificed.
People don't want to take individual responsibility into this, or it's being pushed by, the media. It's this public health policy of stay home, isolate, decontaminate everything, don't touch anything, everything's going to get you. And it's like, that's not the way your immune system works.
Why are they telling us that, do you think? I got to ask that question. Why?
I truly think it's a control mechanism. At the beginning of this, when we started out, We just wanted to stand up for our constitutional rights. But the further we get into this, the uglier it gets. The extent that these politicians will go to enforce their will exposes the fact that this is not about public safety, because again, they still have not had a conversation with us to this day. You would think that somebody would have reached out to Frank or I and wanted to talk. Like Frank said, Frank is the numbers guy. Like, let's talk numbers. Let's talk statistics. If you're going to shut us down, what we're asking for is some hard science, something that proves that gyms are high risk and that other places should be allowed to open with safety protocols. But they don't have anything.
Bottom line is, I think it's political, period. I think that they want to destroy the hardworking man, the middle class, and it only makes sense there. They keep talking about the spike in the fall. You know, it's crazy to me that actually you have all these protests and there wasn't actually a spike. Okay, and then the protests didn't cause spikes, but in every city that Donald Trump was going to have a rally, they had a spike right after actually the rallies died. I mean, it's all political.
Here's a question for you, because the one thing I think we all can agree, no matter what side of the aisle you're here, the left or the right, there's no consistency on the decision making, right? You can go to a bar, have a drink, but you got to have a hot dog, because hot dog is going to stop COVID, right?
No, you know what I truly believe there, that even Dr. Fauci has said that high glycemic and carbohydrates cause a mutation of the actual proteins that actually exacerbate the effects of COVID in the body.
Think about this logically.
They want us unhealthy. They want us spike.
Would you, they said everybody working out has to have a protein shake with them? Would that, I mean, like, there's no common sense with some of the decisions being made.
Because politicians. There is no common sense. They're using PCR tests for all of their data. And
you don't think this is coming from a malice place, do you? I mean, do you really believe Governor Murphy, Governor Wolf, they're all just being malice to people? You truly believe that?
I believe that they're puppets from a puppeteer. I truly believe that.
I welcome any of these politicians to put their public health policy out on the table and convince me that they're acting in good nature. Because I think at absolute best, they're acting in a selfish manner and they're doing things that benefit them. And I think in an absolute worst case scenario, and I don't claim to know which one that is, that they are acting in malice, because none of these policies make sense. None of them are backed by good science. And what you're getting is elected officials acting like rulers, and they are not rulers. They are elected officials that are elected to serve the people. They are not serving the people at this point. When you have them ruling over you with a do as I say, but not as I do mentality, you know, you're watching these governors who are telling people that they can't do, can't go to indoor dining, and then Governor Murphy's indoor dining. The Michigan governor telling people that they can't go to their summer homes, but that same weekend when she tells them to, and she tells them that she's at her summer home. There's too much inconsistency. So either in a best case scenario, they're selfish, and in a worst case scenario, they are acting in malice.
And my best example of them acting in malice is they talk about, most importantly, indoor spaces are tough. We're not there yet. Confined spaces with lack of air circulation and those type of things. We have a 14,000 square foot gym with 25-foot ceilings. Okay, and it's unsafe for you to actually go into the gym and work out. But however, New Jersey Transit is allowed to run at 100% capacity. Now, New Jersey Transit bus is 40 feet long by 102 inches wide. It is 340 square feet. In that 340 square feet, they allow 100%, so it can be up to 60 passengers and a driver. They don't do anything for contact tracing. They do not take your temperatures when you get on the bus. They do not take your name on the bus. They do not disinfect the seat that somebody was sitting in before there. It's a confined space with no circulating air, but yet that's okay.
I don't think anyone would disagree with you. There's no consistency. There's a lot of things that don't make sense. I don't think anyone from the left or right, a logical person that has more than a kindergarten education, would say there's something not here that makes sense all the way. There's just things. No one's arguing with that, Frank, right? But you two have now picked up national exposure. You're in a dogfight. What's next? Because I mean, I'm sorry, I don't see how two people fight Capitol Hill and win. And you seem like you're both nice guys. After getting to know you, I know people that know you. I don't believe this is about your egos in any way. And I know it's not about money because I know what gyms make, and the best thing that could happen to you is you guys get a franchise deal and you open up 30 more, and odds of that are so slim. But what's next?
We don't want 30 more. We just want our lives back.
I want my rights. You know, it's like when we were in the middle of
What
this.
is next? I want to know what is next. You have no license right now.
We keep opening up the doors, and we're going to keep fighting. They threatened it. Actually, the judge has actually mandated that they actually build a barricade to our gym again, and is allowed to use metal this time. So we'll get a plasma cutter, but they're going to have to take us out of here at the same time. They're trying to do everything they can to shut us down and bankrupt us. They are actually holding, for some reason, like when you say malice, okay, they want everybody unhealthy. There is no other reason that gyms should not be open, period. People like Chris Lambert want to actually say that it's our fault. We don't deserve that much credit. We're two dumb gym owners, okay, as far as that goes, okay? It's so much bigger than that. They have no intentions of opening it up. They've talked about, originally gyms were on the beginning of phase 2. Now they're not in existence, and it looks like these specific governors are not going to actually open up gyms until such time that there's a vaccine. And that's crazy, because who the heck's going to take a vaccine that they rush to market, okay? There's where more malice is, okay? We're going to force a vaccine on people that's actually, we don't know what the side effects are long-term, everything like that. And you're going to tell me I have to take it. You know, you look at what's going on in New York now. They're actually, putting people at the borders and you can't leave and you can't come in. It's insane, okay? This is not a communist world, but that's what they're trying to get to. That is where the malice comes in.
I agree. We're in very, very strange times. I don't disagree with you two on that. I'm not saying you gentlemen are right or you're wrong, but could you see the opposite side where people are like, just listen and this will all be done sooner or later when we get back to our lives?
They asked for 14 days. It's 149 today. When's enough? Okay. Everybody says, oh, just comply. Okay. The people that are saying they just comply are the people that are actually sitting fat and happy at home. Okay, as far as that goes, they're making more money on unemployment. They don't want to go back to work. It's the solution to this whole entire pandemic, to me, would have been to close big box, because big box doesn't care about you. I don't care about big box. Leave all small business open, and because we care about each other, we're going to take care of each other. We're going to practice social distancing properly. We'll keep the money in the community as opposed to big box giving it to the politicians and taking it everywhere else. Okay. End of problem.
Can you explain that to what you mean? Because I know what you mean there. So I'm assuming you're talking about lobbyists, correct? Big box have a lobbyist. So explain that to the viewers, because I'm not going to get into the political part here, but when you make a statement like that, it's going to go right by people.
What's happening is they've allowed big box stores to stay open because there's powerful amounts of money and lobbying that go into that. Why can't a small business stay open with the same? You're allowing a Walmart to stay open with minimal safety protocol in place from day one. It was slap on a mask, wipe your cart down, and that's it. We're offering a much more comprehensive solution, and nobody wants to they don't want to look at it. So what's happening now is you're seeing, we have 22% of small businesses in this country have gone out of business for good. Okay, so that's 130,000 across the country by the last number I saw. Now, what happens in the community when that happens? People lose their jobs, people lose their livelihood, and then everybody else goes and shops at Walmart or at all these big box stores. And that money, when it goes into those stores, it doesn't come back into the community. When you shop local, when you whether it's a local grocer or a local hair place, that money stays in the community because those people are part of the community. So the money they earn gets returned, and it helps the community thrive and grow. Now, we're all shutting down. Meanwhile, big box, all the stock prices of all the big box places are skyrocketing. Take a look at the stock market, and that money never goes. It never comes back to Bellmawr.
And now small box stores are having trouble when they are reopening. They can't get employees to come back because they're making more money sitting at home. Well, if you had closed the big box stores to begin with and left the small box store, you would have had the same unemployment rate. But then when they open everything back up, the big box stores would have to worry about hiring people. So they're crippling the small box store by actually shutting us down, but then they cripple it for a longer period of time because when you open back up, nobody wants to work because they're making more money. But big box would be able to afford that. A logical solution would have been to close big box, and then when you open back up and big box opens up, they can afford to do what they need to do to get those employees to come back. The little box.
I will say this, and I don't like to take sides. I do agree with you with one thing. Small business owners care more than big box stores. There is a lobbyist piece to it. Listen, I mean, you guys aren't wrong with some of the things you're saying. There's no doubt about that. You're very educated. You definitely are well-versed on your thought process. So, I mean, it's nice to see this is coming from a good place because most people don't know all the things you know. On the final roar today, there are going to be politicians that watch this. What would you say to them on the final roar? What do you want to say to them if they're listening to this?
I personally want to say, show us the science, okay? You have actually shut down our economy. You've actually told, especially the gym industry, the theater industry, and indoor dining. Show us the science that shows that all of us are more of a danger to society by opening up. And more importantly, show us the science that you and data that you use to open up all of the things that you have opened up that you say that they are safe. Plain and simple. Show me the science on both sides of it, and I'll gladly shut my doors. But until then, you have a battle in your hands.
My message, I think, is similar, but it's let's let good ideas prevail. You know, let's talk about it. We have our plan. And
are you willing to talk? Are you willing to sit down and talk?
Absolutely.
We have asked.
Any politician at any level, be it in the local area, in the county, in the state, on the federal level, come here. We'll clear the entire day for you. I will sit down with Frank and we will put our plan on the table and we will talk about it, because when people are allowed to discuss ideas, good ideas prevail. You don't have to convince. Put yours on the table, put mine on the table. Let's look at it. Let's look at the science. You're not doing that. You can't just dictate people's lives if you're not going to prove what you're saying.
And I truly believe that's why nobody's come down to me with us. We've invited everybody, including Donald Trump. I mean, we have invited absolutely everybody to come and go through our protocol, sit down and talk. And the reason they don't want to sit down and talk is they don't have a clue. They don't have a plan for anything. Okay, somebody else is pulling the strings, telling them, here, open up now. And then they arbitrarily throw something out there. I mean, it's insane that that's what they're doing. We welcome anyone from anywhere to come and evaluate our facility and our protocol. Okay, bottom line is we've had 18,711 people come through with visits since June 16th. And we do not have a single positive COVID case.
Okay. Well, there you hear it, everybody. Over 18,000 visitors walking through Bellmawr's gym, not one single COVID case. You guys made a great case on your end, I truly believe. I appreciate your passion. I appreciate your willingness to come on. I appreciate your straightforwardness. And like anyone else, no matter what side you stand on, I want to always wish you the best of luck. And I hope this ends well for you and it works out for both of you. And good luck, and thank you so much for being on.
Thank you, man. Thank you.